guest with me today. This is actually my mentor, Jeanette Nienaber. Welcome to Facebook Live.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God. Thank you so much for being here from BC. It's so nice to have you here. I hold you to such a large esteem, Jeanette. Jeanette, I don't know if like discovery is like the best word, but it was you that really helped nurture my gifts when I was coming out, and for many years after supported me to work with the angels. And today, we're going to be talking a lot about the heart chakra. And I really felt like you're the best person to talk about being in a place of love, which, as many of you watching right now know, is so important right now. With everything going on in the pandemic, with all the fear, the angels say now more than ever, we have to stay in a place of love and light and faith. But first, I want to share a little bit about Jeanette. Jeanette is really to be considered the bridge between the world of science and the world of medicine. Jeanette, tell us a little bit about what it looks like to be that bridge.
Well, for a while, I kind of lived in two worlds. My world as a scientist and a science teacher, and my intuitive world. And then eventually things happened in my life, which I talk about in my book, that I couldn't ignore anymore. Yeah, the heart in you, which is partly why Julie's invited me today.
Yes.
Um, and I just started realizing that there was science around us that could explain what I was experiencing. And so that's kind of my motivation, is to bring this work mainstream, to show people that there is a big connection between our heart and our intuition. And there's good physics that explains it, and it's not, and I want to take the woo-woo out of the woo-woo.
That makes sense. That's beautiful. Yeah. And yeah, so you worked a lot in science, and sort of like generally speaking, what is something important to know about the heart chakra if we were to kind of bridge those two worlds?
Well, for a long, long time, historically, it was always thought of as a mechanical pump that moves the blood and the body fluids throughout the body. And that industrial view of our body as a machine still is very strong in our culture today. We don't think of our body and our tissues as having an intelligence of its own. And what the research has shown, and I talk about it at a great depth in my book, is that the heart and some of the other organs actually have an intelligence, and they communicate and send signals, biochemical, electromagnetic, pressure waves. Even the heartbeat itself changes the way the brain works and the way the brain perceives things. So when our heart's broken or our heart's not functioning properly, then it affects all the other aspects of who we are, including our mind and our thoughts. So it's really, to me, the core of an essence of who we are.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. Thank you so much. I know as an empath, I feel different energy all the time. And today I got to feel your beautiful energy. And your energy is just so loving. I know we've been friends and we've known each other since 2008. So that's about 12 years we've been in each other's lives. And I remember that was like one of the first things that I felt about you was just you're so loving. Like I was just at such a rock bottom point, and you just kind of swept in with your angel energy and your beautiful heart. And that really was the biggest thing that healed me and started me on this journey of really wanting to do readings, because I felt that love from you. And I know that being in a place of love, well, for me at that time was really something I didn't even think about. I wasn't like, oh, I should be in a place of love. And then I met you and I went, wow, that it's so powerful. It's so healing, because it kind of clears everything, all the shame. For me, I had a lot of shame. And it really, it's, people are so, it supported me to move out of the spiritual closet, because I work with so many students, as you do, as a healing touch instructor, which I do want to mention actually, because you're the instructor manager for the Healing Touch Foundation. Actually, do you want to share a little bit about that first, and then I'll continue on?
Well, I first moved into and came out of the spiritual closet, so to speak, when I found the Healing Touch material, and it appealed to me because it's certified by the American Nurses Credentialing Center, so it's actually continuing education for nurses, and so it's a lovely way of bringing the heart-centered caring and energy to people, even within the medical setting. So it's used in quite a few hospitals. So over the years, I've evolved in taking courses and in teaching the work, and I'm now currently the instructor manager, which is kind of like the principal of a high school. And I have the moment about 170 instructors that are certified throughout the world. And so I'm there to support them and help teach the new ones. And I love it because it's such a beautiful journey. And
That's amazing. And, I'm just so proud of you because I know you're such an amazing person and you have so much love and so much integrity. And I learned so much from you as a student of working with angels. And I took Healing Touch as well, back in the day, with Marsha Reed in 2008, because I live in Calgary, you live in, and we met in BC, and then I moved here. And I know Healing Touch is such an amazing practice as well. Why do you think it's so, like the angels are saying it's so important in hospital care to have that skill?
The medical model is very much currently based on the industrial view of, if there's a broken part, you fix it. And so the whole idea of caring and interacting with the emotional, mental, and spiritual part of the patient kind of got pushed aside. So the Florence Nightingale type of nursing got diminished as they brought in the more scientific approach. And yes, we need the science. I'm totally not against that. I have a titanium hip, and that's helped me a lot. So it's more that nursing care. And Jean Watson out of the Watson Caring Institute has written a book on caritas in nursing. And she studied and found that the patients who felt the nurse cared for them did better than the patients who felt the nurse didn't care for them, and who just treated them like, an object that needed an IV or a painkiller. And the same thing with Healing Touch. The Healing Touch nurses go in and they work not only with the medical aspect, but they also will help with pain management. It helps relax people so they heal better. It helps with depression and anxiety. It works on many different levels with the breath, the oxytocin release from gentle touch, etc. Many people don't get touched anymore, especially right now with the virus, but you can still energetically touch and interact with someone, because the heart field is so big that it's actually bigger than the mind. The field of the brain is about this big, where the heart is almost as big as your arm. So yeah, I think it's
so
important.
the healing can happen remotely is what you're saying, right? Energy healing can be done remotely, like with Reiki and with Healing Touch. So Archangel Raphael is guiding us to go back to the heart chakra, which ironically you govern the heart chakra, don't you, Raphael? That color of emerald green. I just want to quickly show people they have an idea. Archangel Raphael in the heart chakra connects to the color green, and that's the heart energy that Jeanette is talking about. It has a huge field. It's often said to be the bridge between, and Jeanette taught me this, the bridge between the upper and the lower chakras. We've been talking the past few weeks a lot about the lower chakras, the root chakra, the sacral chakra, which governs our emotions, right? The root, we started with the foundation of who you're born to be, why you're here, your life purpose, and then your emotions, your sexuality, and then the solar plexus we were talking about last week, which is your personal power. So we're now moving away from you and your power, and we're now moving into how I connect with other. How do I as an individual connect to other people in the world? And I really think that's part of the bridge here, right, Jeanette?
Yes. Yeah, when you move into unconditional love for yourself, then you're able to offer it to others. And that's the catalyst that gets the energy flowing from your heart out your hands, or if you're doing a hands-on healing, but it comes out your heart and into your heart field. And then it's quantum. It goes to many different aspects of the world, wherever you decide to send it. So Lynn McTaggart's work on intention is very powerful. It's all been demonstrated quite closely that our intention, our thoughts precede what happens or what we manifest.
I just got shivers, or the angel bumps, as you call them. Just validating for me that what I'm hearing is true. That was the thing that you taught me in our very first phone call. I said, "Oh, I don't know why when you're telling me these things, Jeanette, I'm getting shivers." And you said, "Well, that's your angel's way of validating for you that what you're hearing is true." And I've taken that with me. I love what you said about intention. As you see here on the screen, everybody, this is based on my book, Everyday Angel Miracles, Volume 1. This chapter is the principle of cause and effect. And it really ties into what Jeanette is saying about intention. When I wrote this chapter, Tuning into the Ascended Masters and the Angels, what I heard was just what Jeanette said, is that when you hold that place of love, it creates an effect in the world. Jeanette, you mentioned earlier that isolation is so hard for people. I talked with somebody yesterday who said, "I can't hug my parents." And she was crying. She says, I can't hug my colleagues. And it really hurts. What is a way that we can expand our heart chakra and come from a place of love when maybe right now some people out there are not feeling it?
For me, I think the most important thing to do when you can't touch or hug people that you miss or love is to work on your connection to divine and to self, connecting with your spirits and your angels. And you can do that simply just by starting by holding your heart and giving yourself love and feeling your heart get warm and letting that warmth spread from your heart throughout your body. And then there's many different self-care techniques that like self-mind clearing, self-chakra connection that are available on the Healing Touch websites that you can take a look at it. We've just launched a COVID-19 care site. And then the other piece is remembering that you're a divine being, and this is only one aspect of who you are, and your angels or guides are here to look after you and protect you, and you can ask them for help. I do all the time. Ask them to clear you, ask them to help you get through this, ask them to have you listen to Julie and read her book.
Beautiful. Thank you. And that's healingtouchcanada.com?
No, it's healingtouchprogram.com.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't put it on the Canada website. That's on my to-do list, which is kind of large.
We'll add it to the crawler right now. Healingtouchprogram.com.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So if you go to that website, where would I go to find that information?
There's a COVID-19 portal.
I just heard a ding. Did you hear a ding? Oh, was that at your end?
That's my phone. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, "Ooh, I'm hearing a new noise in the studio today." Maybe it's so. Okay, so I love what you said about connecting with your angels. When you had me put my hands on my heart, well, you did it, and then I copied you. Uh, I really felt something. I remember that like the first week that I met you, you told me, "Put your hand on your heart." I want to go back to that because I think it's really important. How can I love myself by putting my hand on my heart? Tell me more about that.
Well, first of all, when you touch any part of your body, in terms of chemistry, you release oxytocin, which is a bonding and a hormone of well-being and connecting. And I think our heart responds to that. And if you think about sending love to your heart, we don't do that very often. Very few people that I worked with in the beginning ever thought of sending themselves love. We're raised to do stuff for other people, that to be seen and not heard, and all these kind of old things. But really, if we can't send our self-love, how can we give it to other people? So I always feel that's a really important place to start. And very often, in my opinion, many of the issues that I see in clients and just people at large is because they're looking for love, or they have all these needs and they're trying to pull it from other people. And that's not how we receive. We receive by learning to give to self, and then from self we can give to others. And our angels are here to support us, our guardian angels, our archangels, and we can just ask. I'm sure Julie's talked to you about the importance of asking. If you don't ask, they can't give you.
Yeah, I don't even think I was the first one to say it. I think it was, I do say it, but Jesus was the one who said, ask and you shall receive. And yeah, you did teach me how to ask the angels. I remember when I met you, I was going through a breakup and my heart was feeling all kinds of yucky stuff. And I remember you said to me, it was a breakup, and you said, go have a bath. And you said, imagine Raphael filling your bath with emerald green light. And I did that. That was the day of Michael Jackson's funeral, I think. That was
Oh,
fun.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why that the angels are kind of bringing that memory back to me, but now I remember the day because I was like crying over Michael Jackson and crying over my breakup. And I went into the bath and all that noise went away. I brought in the angel, I brought in the angel energy, and I did what you said. You said, fill up the tub to your neck and imagine that your tub is filled with green light. And it calmed me down. Because if you're going through a breakup right now, if you're feeling stressed about work, your finances, the state of the world, that could even be an additional healing tool for you right now to just kind of calm you. What happened to me that day when I was in the tub? Why did that calm me down, do you think?
Well, first of all, just physiologically, warm water is relaxing, and we need a relaxation response to get calmer. Secondly, we took your mind away from all the pain and angst, and we changed it out for thinking of green and calming and visualizing angels and love supporting you. And so often when we're upset or anxious, we throw all that stuff out the window and we get spinning a wheel on the negative stuff, and it feeds on itself. And the more we feed on the negative things, the more it drags us down into a miasma of pain and angst, and we get stuck there, and the energy gets congested. So the warmth of the bath and feeling the beautiful green and loving yourself and knowing that your angels are there to help and support you, really important.
Yeah. Beautifully said. Thank you. Yeah, I think just thinking about angels can raise our vibration is a good way if you're right now not feeling like you're in a place of love for anyone out there. And Jeanette, I know you really taught me that. And I love what you said about I took my mind away from those things. And I remember feeling I believe that I was in many ways unconscious when I first met you, and you kept bringing me back to my body. Yeah, it's true. I'm okay to admit it. Like, and I
Yeah.
love, and you did so many. Is kinesthetic the right word? Kinesthetic things where you brought me back to my body. Eckhart Tolle calls it presence power. When you exit your mind, you enter into your body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think we need to move more and more into a culture which recognizes the wisdom and intelligence of the body. You know, you cut your finger, a simple thing, and yet you don't say, okay, blood cells start picking up the bacteria and collagen start growing, like, and it heals. And like, we don't direct all that. And I think we forget how wise and intelligent the tissues and organs, the whole thing. The more I've studied the body, the more I'm just completely amazed at what it can do without us even saying anything.
And you're right. And without you saying it, what I heard you say, although you didn't say it with your words, was when your heart chakra is activated, it heals other things.
Yes.
I know you didn't say that, but that's what I just heard you say.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true. Absolutely. Yeah.
So why do you think that's so important? Why, give us another reason. Why is it so important? And maybe pull from your book. I know I have this chapter open to exploring your spiritual heart. What are some of the benefits to having an open heart, and especially in a crisis that we're experiencing in this time of the world right now? Why would it be helpful to be in that place of love? What can it help?
So I'm probably kind of going to be jumping around a little bit, but studies of our brain wave frequencies when we're in different emotions have shown that we move to um, a higher place of wisdom and consciousness when we have certain thoughts in our mind. So when we move to hope, it which usually comes from the heart, but it affects the brain and our brain frequencies, and so we're at a higher state of existence, for lack of better words. The same thing with the mystery, the awe, like, you know, watching like a flower grow or a baby learn to crawl. I mean, this is amazing stuff. And we forget about how incredibly wonderful the world is. But if you're in awe of the mystery, then you're more likely to be in a higher frequency of existence. And then compassion is about wanting to be and help someone else endure their suffering. It's not about oh, that's too bad, or being empathetic, or even altruistic, that it shouldn't be like that. It's actually engaging and helping energetically support. So together we're better. Together we help support one another, and that comes from our heart and and a frequency in our mind. So there's this huge link between heart and brain that raises us up. Whereas if I came on and I was talking about all my fears or all the things that I'm no good at, and there's quite a few actually, but you know, or all the things that are going wrong in the world, everybody that's listening would all of a sudden be, you know, and you know, and then we want to cry. I mean, girls especially are good at, especially when you're a teenager, at those what do you call, you know, you get together and then you all start crying. It's like an entrainment. It is entrainment. Like, so we do entrain each other. When you're with someone, a rock concert's a good example. With when you're with somebody who's like belting out these songs and everybody's going and dancing, we move to a different frequency. And when we're with someone who's really down in the dumps, we go down there.
So it's like a way of sharing love, bringing other people up. If I'm in a place of love, if somebody else watching right now, for instance, is feeling down, it could be a way of invoking a positive change in that individual.
Yes. And I want to say, Julie, I'm really proud of how well you worked and how hard you worked. Like what I was sharing with you right from the beginning wasn't easy, but a lot of people don't want to do their own work, and that's, you know, you decided to step into service and moving forward as a human being and bringing your gifts to the world, but you also chose to do that. And I think that's another piece. We need to remember that we chose to be here. And are we going to step up to the plate and engage in the service that we want to share with people? Or is it all about, you know, just about us?
Thank you so much. You know, I really, you know, I did work really hard on myself, but what I felt was so missing before I met you was, I mean, I didn't feel like doing any of those things that you saw in me, because I remember having a reading with you just changed my whole life. Um and I remember you said to me, "Oh, I see you doing Reiki, I see you doing readings and this kind of thing." And I remember being like, "Oh wow, like I actually now want to do those things." Because for years before I met you, I don't know if I shared this with you, I mean, since I remember being um very down and depressed at around 13 years old and being in my room, and a lot of negative feelings were going on inside me. My angels actually said to me, "You're psychic." And I remember being 13 and hormonal and saying, "Oh yeah, if that's true, make it stop raining outside." Like, like I never wanted to be a psychic. Actually, in fact, I wanted to be a movie star. I thought that would solve all my problems, as a young teen who was recovering from just a lot of trauma. And then when I met you, like I was like, oh, like, because the way that you taught me about love inspired me to want to let other people feel that way. And I know I work with students, and some move quickly out of the spiritual closet more than other people, right? Like Marie Miranda, the medical intuitive, who now is a colleague of mine at Joy and Vitality. She moved very quickly too. I think it was I met you, you told me about my gifts, I started working, and I put an ad in the newspaper like a few weeks later.
I remember. Yeah. I thought, wow, that's fast.
Yeah. But it was that love, and it was the way that I felt when I was with you. I felt like you taught me the most important thing and that you ever have taught me, which is, when you're reading for somebody, when you're facilitating healing for somebody, you said, be in that place of unconditional love for them. And then that will allow you to see everything.
Yeah.
Makes me tear up because
you're a good student.
well, I think I was ready, and yeah, it's so important because I tell all my students as well, like, I'm not going to teach you to be psychic. I'm just going to show you where you are already psychic, and I feel like that's in a way what you did for me was by bringing me back to that place of love. You mentioned so many great activities in your book. I want to talk about your book now, The Heart in You. What made you write this, by the way? And where can we get it?
It's on Amazon.ca, and it's also available from Balboa in the States and Barnes and Noble, I think, but in Canada, the CA would be the best. Why did I write? Okay, so I never sat down, like when you're growing up, there's people who say they want to be an author and a writer when they grow up. And that was not me. As a matter of fact, I love books. I'm a real bookworm, but I'd look at books and I think, oh, so much work. I'm never going to write a book. So I was very reluctant, but I just kept getting guidance that what I knew as a scientist and what I knew as an energy healer, very, very few people they're either here or they're there, but we need this. So I believe very strongly that we need to work together to bring, as science develops more and more understanding of what I call subtle energies, and as healers become more aware that there is some explanation as to how this works, then I think we can be better. And I see in my vision of the future that we have energy therapies and physicians and nurses all working as a whole. I was a big Trekkie fan when I was growing up, Star Trek, and I just always thought it was so cool the way Captain Kirk talked to his counselor, who was also an intuitive. And I'm like, oh, I'd like to be her.
That's hilarious.
I'm dating myself, I know. Star Trek.
It's okay. I had the biggest crush on one of the characters growing up too. So yeah, it's a good show, and I get what you're saying, and yeah, especially like right now we can see that we're so dependent on nurses. It's funny, I read for a nurse last week who has taken Healing Touch, and she said to me, she did so much work. She's retired now. She did so much work on all the people like that, working through their energy field and holding their hand and sending them that love, just how important that was and how it made a difference. And I just want to take this opportunity to thank all the front line workers right now, firefighters, police, nurses. I mean, we wouldn't be able to survive this situation without you. Thank you for all that you're doing. And a lot of nurses might even be sharing that love without knowing, feeling, touch as well, right? They just have that love, and that's what we're saying is you being in a place of love out there listening is us right now. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. No, thank you for that, Julie. I have 2 sons that are in the first responders category, and I have a huge respect for the willingness to serve that they have.
Yes, yes, that's true. You have 1 son in the police force and 1 son in the fire department. Is that correct?
1 son's a sheriff, yeah. So it's policing, yeah.
Sheriff.
Firefighter.
Wow.
And then my third one is planning cities. So that's important too.
Those are very important jobs. Absolutely. What have you taught them about how to stay in a place of love when they're in service?
I don't think they really know what it's like to not have unconditional love, because I started doing this work secretly when my first son was born 35 years ago. And so I just responded to my intuition and some books I read. One was on therapeutic touch. And so they grew up with Mummy's Funny Stuff. And they get it. They are very supportive of what I'm doing. And they also see that it has value in all aspects of their own careers. But it's still, kind of a borderline work or acceptance level at this point. So hopefully we can change that with just keep asking the angels to help us. Right?
But the main thing is that you held that unconditional love for them, and like, look at the men that they've grown up to be because of that, right? Whether they believe in all your spiritual stuff or not. I mean, your sons are amazing, right? They're serving our community, which is so important right now. We can't forget about all these first responders and their roles and how we have freedom because of them. So I think you did an amazing job. And I know you did an amazing job with me, and the work that you're doing now is just so important to the world. And I just want to thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me. It's so much fun. I love you.
Yeah. I love you too. Well, I just want to say thank you for everybody who tuned in and watched us today. Jeanette, do you have anything that you wanted to announce or anything that you wanted to end on?
No, I think you could connect with me either through Julie or email. My book and Julie's book, I recommend them both. And just sending love to all of you who are listening, and to all the people you love as well.
Said. And to get in touch with you, okay, so this is so funny, you guys, because Jeanette had offered email, right? You said as a way of connecting. Are you comfortable in sharing your email?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, get the irony of this, everybody, but go ahead, Jeanette.
It's emeraldchakra@gmail.com.
Yeah. emeraldchakra@gmail.com. It's literally the chakra we've been talking about today, this emerald green chakra that connects to the heart chakra. It was a perfect email for you, by the way. Well, thank you to everybody who's watching today. We're sending you love and light, and may God keep you in a place of peace that passes all understanding. Bye, everybody.